Well, good evening, folks, or good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. Quincy Kane here, and this is live stream number 59. And for this stream, we're going to be checking out one of my favorite bands, Killswitch Engage. We're going to check out specifically some live footage that they put out. We'll talk more about that later, but this was a live show that they did during the pandemic at the Palladium. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but at some particular venue. So, yeah, we're going to check it out. We're going to be checking out Killswitch Engage. And before we dive in, it looks like we've got quite a few people in the chat. Moonlight, Knox, Stan, good to have all of you. And I think that's all we've got so far, but anyone else who's joining us, don't be shy, say hello. We've got quite a few people, so we're going to dive into the reaction segment pretty soon, but I'm going to open up with a song first. Now, I was hoping to sing for you guys tonight, but I am getting over some cold, and I'm getting much better, but not quite in the condition to sing yet. So I'm going to have to do instrumentals tonight, but hopefully you will still enjoy that. So I'm going to open up with an instrumental tune, and then I think we're going to dive right into some reactions, and throughout the stream, I'll play a few songs for you as well. So, but let me ask you first off, how you doing? You know, say hello, and but do we have any Killswitch fans watching? Anybody familiar with Killswitch Engage? If not, I'll introduce them to you. We'll kind of talk about them some. But if you are, let me know. Let me know your favorite Killswitch Engage albums, some of your favorite Killswitch Engage songs. Have you ever seen them live? I'd love to hear all about that. If you've never heard them, again, we're going to check them out this evening. So, but first, let me open up with a song. Here we go. Thank you. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. And then I think we're going to dive into our reaction segment very soon here. Let's see. Moonlight and Knox, I see you are acknowledging the album cover in Knox's profile picture. It's a little small on my screen, so I can't see it right now. What album is that? What artist is that? Fill me in. I'd be curious. Moonlight, good to be here. Did you get any bagels? How was the pizza and Chinese? Yes, I will tell you about my my New York ventures in just a moment here. Neither did I. Yep. So it looks like you guys have a common artist. Let's see. Let the fingers talk. yeah. Hopefully. A little stumbling with the fingers, but, you know, they got a few words out, I guess. Can't see. Gotcha. Yeah. So Knox hasn't heard of Killswitch Engage. Okay, cool. But excited to check it out. All right. Sounds great. That was cool. What album do you recommend? No pun intended. No fun intended, or I don't know if you meant pun, intended by Tyler Joseph. Okay, cool. I might have to check that out. I can't say the name sounds kind of familiar, but I'm not sure if I'm familiar with Tyler Joseph. Okay, so I'll talk about New York real quick, and then we'll talk about Killswitch Engage and dive into the reaction segment here. New York was fun. It was a good trip. We left on Thursday, we being my brother-in-law and my nephew, and we traveled by train. I don't know if you've ever traveled by train before, but it's actually a very affordable way to travel, and it's pretty nice because it covers a lot of the inconveniences of driving. There are bathrooms on the train. You have access to your luggage. Even the security getting on a train isn't really it's not as thorough as like a plane. It's like you just kind of you get your ticket and you get on the train. It's pretty straightforward. And but you have access to your luggage, so you can grab whatever you need, and you can just watch YouTube videos or listen to music or something. You can get up, stretch your legs, and walk around. There's a little cafe cart, and they've got tables, so you can sit and eat and that kind of thing. You can bring food on the train, so it's a pretty convenient way to travel. Might even be my favorite way to travel. I'm not totally sure, but that was kind of nice. We traveled on Thursday, and we got there early enough. We got 3, 4 o'clock, something like that. So we had most of the day to do a lot of things. We were staying pretty close to the Empire State Building, and which isn't too far from Times Square. So we got to check that out, check out the lights at night and stuff. Then the next day, Friday, was our full day, and we did a lot. We went to Central Park. We went to Chinatown, Little Italy. We went to see the Statue of Liberty. We didn't take the ferry across to get really close, but we got as close as we could from the shoreline. And just kind of explored the city, checked out some stores, the Lego store, and some pretty big shops and stuff. And so that was a lot of fun. I'll share a couple of my favorite moments. And then Saturday we came home. We checked out a few more things and then took a train home. So it was good. New York, it was a lot of fun. And it was fun trying out the subway and stuff. That was kind of a neat way to travel. We, let's see. We ate at Joe's Pizza, which I don't know if this was the exact Joe's Pizza, but in the the second Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire, he works for a pizza place, and he works for Joe's Pizza. And so we actually ate there, and it was really good. I wouldn't say it's the best pizza I've ever had, but it's definitely up there. It was really good pizza, and so really enjoyable. So I can definitely recommend Joe's Pizza. And that was a lot of fun. We also did a little bit of location scouting. I looked up the location from what was it? From Spider-Man 1. And let's see. The scene where Uncle Ben drops off Peter Parker at the library, we actually found that location where they filmed that. So that was pretty cool, and I got a picture there. So I'll be posting some of those pictures later on Instagram, and I think you can post pictures on YouTube as well. So I'll be sure to do that. So that was fun. It was actually quite exciting to find a location. Oh my gosh, this is where they shot the scene in the movie. That was just a lot of fun to do. That's right. Yep. Like to have a plan. Like to kind of know. Go. Let's see here. Yeah, traveling by train. I would recommend it. For 3 of us, a one-way trip was $77. So that's pretty affordable, So, and I think you just double that. So it was maybe around $160 for all 3 of us to go there and back or something. But that's and it takes maybe about as long as it would to drive. It was about a 6-hour trip, but it goes by really fast because there's just so much access to entertainment and just being able to do stuff. You're not just stuck in your seat and just having to look out the window the whole time. Unfortunately, I did not get to try the bagels. We were looking. There were a couple places. There was a place called Absolute Bagels, and there was a place called SA Bagels or something like that. And we were going to eat there, but something happened with our scheduling, and we really needed to make it. We found one of those places, but we didn't want to miss our train home, and there was kind of a lengthy line, so we decided we'd better grab something just quick. So I've still got that to do. I still have to try some New York bagels. But I did get the New York pizza. We did go to Chinatown and got some Chinese. I wish if I could go back, I think I would have looked up some restaurants to check out. It was actually a little tough to like find like a restaurant and be like, man, which one should we choose? And the one we ate at was okay. The noodles and the broth that I had in the noodles were really good. I had these shrimp dumplings, and they were okay. They weren't as good as I was hoping they would be, but the noodles were really good. And my brother-in-law got some roasted duck with some noodles. That was quite good. So. Really, no trains out in Vegas. That's kind of interesting. You'd think they'd have something out that way, but but yeah, that was quite fun. The New York trip, it was a lot of fun. It was my first time going. Have any of you ever been to New York City? Let me know. Let me know if you've been to New York City, or if you'd like to go or anything like that. I would definitely recommend it. I think it's a fun place to visit. Central Park is really big and really pretty. Like we spent a good bit of time there, but you could probably spend a whole day there if you had like some activities planned and stuff. So, all right. So we're gonna be checking out Killswitch Engage. Now, like I said, Killswitch is one of my favorite bands. They are a metalcore band. In fact, they are probably the metalcore band. So their music kind of combines heavy metal with hardcore and like kind of the hardcore scene and the punk scene. And what's great about Killswitch, they have a format to their music that's been very influential to me, where they have these very aggressive verses. The verses are very have these aggressive, heavy riffs with harsh vocals. So, for example, they've got a song called "My Curse," and like the verse riff goes like this. So they've got like this heavy riff, but then they have just these really catchy choruses, and they're very melodic choruses that are beautiful. So this is the chorus of the same song. And I can't really sing, but they've got kind of like screaming during the verses, but then during the choruses, they've got, I'll try this, it might be kind of rough. So, there is love burning to find you. Will you wait for me? Will you be there? Yeah, sorry, that was a little rough, but you get the idea. So that's kind of their sound. And as far as albums go, so here's the thing about Killswitch. So they've had two vocalists, all right? When they started, they had a vocalist named Jesse Leach. He was the original vocalist, and he was very good. Jesse is I really like the lyrics he writes, and he's just like raw emotion from Jesse, which is really cool. And I really appreciate that. But I think he was kind of struggling with some stuff in his personal life. And so he ended up just like disappearing. like just one day he just ran away. And the band, they had no clue where he went. And so he didn't come back, and they had to find another vocalist. And so around 2003, something like that, they found Howard Jones. That was their second vocalist. And the first album they put out with Howard was called, I think it was called End of Heartache or something like that. It came out in 2004. So that was the first album they put out. And then Howard was their vocalist for a while. In 2007, they put out an album called, let's see, was it This Is Absolution, I think is what it's called. It's funny. It's my favorite album, but I always forget the the title of it. 1 second. I will find this. Darn, I have a picture of it, but it doesn't have the name of the album on it. So, yeah, but their 2007 album, that's probably my favorite Killswitch Engage album, and that's the one that I would recommend. Now, we're not going to be checking out any of the songs from that album today. We're probably going to revisit Killswitch in the future. I just wanted to check out these videos specifically because these were posted just a few months ago. As Daylight Dies, that's what it's called. The 2007 album is called As Daylight Dies. And for some reason, I always forget the name of it, but it is my favorite album. I love all the songs on that. And so Killswitch, or sorry, Howard was the vocalist for a while, but then in 2009, 2010 or something, he ended up leaving the band. But then Jesse came back, and so I was introduced to the band when Howard was the vocalist, and I love Howard. He's like one of my favorite vocalists. But if he had to leave and someone had to replace him, I'm glad it was the original vocalist. So Jesse came back. He kind of had some things worked out in his life, and he actually learned some proper technique and kind of got better. He's actually a better singer and screamer than he was when he first started. And so Jesse is the current vocalist now, and I like both of them. I like Howard and Jesse; they're great. Yeah, actually, I really can't complain. They're both great vocalists for the band. Yeah, reading the comments here. Knox just saying he hasn't, but not really a big fan of cities. Yeah, cities can definitely be. They're very fast paced, and I'm okay with that. I don't know. It's definitely a nice place to visit. I can't comment whether or not I would, want to live in the city. I'm not really sure. If I had to, I'm sure I could, but yeah, I kind of, where I live is more of a rural area. I think that's how you say it, rural. Kind of countryside a little bit, just outside of town. But yeah, the big city, lots of people that you're passing by. In fact, I think that's why I'm a little sick, because I probably caught something from all those people. But yeah, big city is definitely high energy, definitely a bit overwhelming. Yeah, you could probably compare it to grunge a little bit, but grunge is a little more like metalcore is definitely, it's definitely metal. Like there's some double bass stuff in there and some very heavy drum beats. And that's not to say that grunge couldn't be heavy, but grunge is definitely more on the rock side of things, and metal is just a little. I don't know. When you hear the full band, you can definitely tell it's a little different. But yeah, it's really cool stuff. So that's what we're going to check out, though. So that's kind of a brief history of Killswitch Engage with Howard and Jesse. Oh, what we're checking out. So if you remember, a couple years ago, we had this pandemic, and like everything was closed pretty much. And so it was tricky for artists because they couldn't perform live shows. So a lot of bands were doing these virtual concerts. Now, I've never seen Killswitch Engage live. I still want to. In fact, funny story, one time Killswitch Engage came to play at my local town in Charlottesville, Virginia. They were like right in my backyard. They're playing a show, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I bought tickets right away, and I was so excited about it. And so I was talking to my brother-in-law about it. I was like, hey, man, Killswitch Engage is coming. I'm looking forward to seeing him. And he's like, oh, sweet, when's the show? And I told him the date, and he's like, isn't our family going on vacation during that time? And I was like, no, you've got to be kidding me, no. And sure enough, the concert was like right in the middle of our family vacation. And so, if it was like on the end, like I could have maybe come home early and caught the concert, or I could have, caught the concert and then left for vacation, but it was like right in the middle of our vacation. So there was really no way I could see the show. So thankfully I was able to get a refund, but I don't think they've played in Charlottesville since then. That was quite a few years ago. So I still have yet to see Killswitch Engage. Hopefully they'll come to Richmond or something sometime, somewhere close, and I'd love to see them. But during the pandemic, they did this virtual concert, and so I think, yeah, that does suck, yeah. But during the pandemic, they did this virtual concert, and they're one of my favorite bands. I wanted to support them, so I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So I paid for the virtual ticket or whatever and got to see it. And so I got to watch the whole thing. Now, since they've done that, they've posted like a few clips from the concert on YouTube and stuff. But I actually have seen this whole performance. But again, they've just posted this stuff recently, so I thought we would go ahead and sort of check it out together. Maybe we'll check out a few other tracks too. I'm not really sure. Like I said, we'll probably revisit Killswitch Engage for future streams too, because they're one of my favorite bands. But yeah, give me just a second here. I'm actually going to get my laptop plugged in real quick. I don't want it to die during the stream. That would be unfortunate. And then we're going to dive into a reaction. So just if you're still out there, just let me know if you're ready to dive into this reaction, and we'll dive right into it. Just give me a thumbs up or just say I'm ready, and we'll get right into it. All right, Knox is ready. Stan, Moonlight, what about you guys? Let me know if you're ready. I'm going to get this set up. So let me know if you can see that little window in the corner there. And I got to make some tweaks to my audio real quick so that you guys can hear it. All right, so when I do play the video, you guys should be able to hear it. All right. Okay, Moonlight's ready. Moonlight was saying that she would like to visit it, to see some of the locations of Home Alone. My brother-in-law loves that movie, and my nephew does too. So we actually did. It's kind of funny. There's people who will give you tours. They've got like these electric bikes with seats on the back that you can sit on, and they'll give you a ride through the city. And we were looking for someone to take us to the locations from Home Alone, especially in Central Park. And we were talking to one guy who's like, yeah, I can take you to those places. I'll do it for $300. My brother-in-law's like, that's a bit steep. I'm not sure we can do 300. And he's like, well, I'll do it for 200. And we're like, I think we're good, but thank you, sir. And then we went to some other guy, and he's like, yeah, I'll do it for $55. So he rode us around for $55. And he said he knew the Home Alone locations, but I don't think he did. There's a certain bridge in Central Park from Home Alone, and I think he just took us to some random bridge. He's like, there it is. And we got a picture there, but then afterwards, my brother-in-law was like, I don't think that was the bridge. So we walked around and looked for it. I think we ended up finding it, but yeah, that was kind of fun. We checked out some of the locations from Home Alone, and atmosphere being dark. You know what's kind of funny is I was expecting people to be like really rude, but everyone we encountered was actually quite nice. Like, we had a lot of friendly people. Like, don't get me wrong, there were definitely a few people that, seemed a bit like just go, and wasn't worried about anyone else. But, yeah, I think we had a pretty good experience. So, maybe it just depends where you're at in New York and who you're interacting with, so. Yep, exactly. I've got an excuse to go back. Got to go back for the real locations and for the bagels. So I am hoping, I would like to go back. And if I do go back, I will try the bagels. And what I would like to do is, so I love Home Alone, but, I love the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. Like, I grew up with those. So I would love to have a list of the addresses of all the locations where they shot at in New York, and then go and like a scavenger hunt, try to find them all and get a picture at all the locations. So that's what I'd like to do if I were to go again. All right, here we go. So this is Killswitch Engage. One of my favorite bands. Now, it's kind of funny, for those of you, since you haven't heard them, these are good songs, but these are songs from their latest album. Again, my favorite album is As Daylight Dies. It's the album from 2007. So if you do, if you like this, if this seems pretty cool, if you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, I would recommend checking out songs from that album and see what you think. But here we go. We're going to check this out. Let me know if you guys can hear this. I'm going to go ahead and play it, and let's give it a watch. This is a good song, though. So that's Jesse. And then the guitarist there, that's Adam D. This is live too, keep that in mind. It's a good chorus. Adam's got a really great singing voice. Yeah, again, this was from a virtual concert. Yes, not a music video. This is all live right now. See the pizza sign in the back? I think Adam's kind of known for like loving pizza. I don't know if he's playing it right now, but he's actually got a pizza guitar. They've got a really good drummer too. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell. I'm pretty sure he's playing his pizza guitar. I like that melody there with the guitars. Yeah, so that's a little taste of Killswitch right there. We're going to check out another song in a moment. Let's see. But yeah, they're just such good songwriters. Like that's kind of the format of their music, but I don't know, it's a format that works, it never gets old. Just like these really kind of heavy, aggressive verses and then these really catchy, melodic choruses. And that's not to say that every song sounds like that, but it's just sort of a structure that most of their songs follow. Now, especially on the albums, they definitely... What I like about their albums is that they're very dynamic. I don't know if we're going to get to experience too much of the dynamics right now. I tried to pick a few different songs. But like on the albums, they have slower, softer songs. They have like the epic ballads and things like that. But yeah. Let's see. Yes, definitely a headbanger. Stan says he likes it, so that's good. Good stuff, yeah. Yeah, they're definitely a favorite of mine. Again, I still have yet to see them live, and if that's what they sound like live, then it's like, man, looking forward to seeing that show someday. Let's go ahead and check out another clip, and then I think we'll take a break and I'll play a song for you, and then we'll check out even more from them. Moonlight says it was great, reminds them of, what is that? Fight the Fury. I'm not sure I've heard of that. Is that the name of the band, Fight the Fury? I will have, if there's some similarity, I'll definitely have to check them out, because like I said, Killswitch is one of my favorites, so yeah, anything similar to Killswitch, I would definitely be interested in checking out, so. All right, again, that song was called As Sure as the Sun Will Rise. We're going to check out another song. Now, here's the thing. So here's what they did for this live stream. They performed their new album in entirety. They played all the songs from their new album. But then they also played all the songs from their debut album, the very first album they ever put out, which I think was self-titled. It was just Killswitch. Now, the first album, it's not bad, but again, it was their debut album. It was really before they settled into their sound. So there's a few songs from the first album that I quite like, but at the same time, it kind of feels like they were still figuring out their sound and stuff. But that's what they're playing next. This next song we're going to listen to is from the same concert. This is a sweet song. This is a song called Vita Infra, and this was from their first album. Now, you'll notice they changed their outfits, because what they do, the first album came out in like 2000. So they do a little skit in the live concert where like something happens and it looks like they travel back in time. And so they're dressed in their like 2000 attire. They've got like the braided necklace on, and they've got like the spiked gelled hair and stuff like that. So you'll notice they look a little different. They're like in their 2000s attire. So they're kind of simulating like they went back to 2000 to perform this album or something like that. Cool. Stan says he actually held back looking them up so that he could experience them here. So hopefully you'll like what you hear. But again, my personal recommendation, if you kind of dig what you hear tonight, then definitely check out more of them and check out the album As Daylight Dies. But again, that will be a different vocalist. My favorite album with Jesse, that's tough. I'm not really sure. It might be, they put out an album called Alive or Just Breathing. I think that came out in 2002 or something like that. That might be my favorite album with Jesse, but some of the newer stuff that they've done with Jesse has been really good too. So, to be honest, they're a very consistent band. So you can't really go wrong with checking out too much. But those would be the first two albums I would recommend: As Daylight Dies and Alive or Just Breathing. But yeah, let's see here. That's interesting. So Fight of Fury is a side project from the Skillet vocalist, but it sounds like it's heavier and harder than Skillet. So that's kind of cool. And again, I think, Moonlight, you were here during the Skillet stream, I believe, and we kind of expressed my feelings towards that. I have such mixed feelings about Skillet because a lot of their older stuff was so good, and I can't say I really care too much for the direction they've gone with their music, but I know what they're capable of. It's like, man, they are so capable of being good, and I kind of wish they'd stayed, with that original sound they had. But if as long as they're happy with what they're doing, that's great. But that's cool. I'll have to check that out for sure. Knox sounds like he's going to check it out. If a Click member suggests it, he's going to check it out. All right, good stuff. All right, sweet. We're going to dive into the next song here. This song is called Vita Infra. And again, you'll notice their attire is a little different. See, Adam's got his spiky blonde hair. He's got the bead necklaces. It's kind of thrashy. This part's pretty cool coming up. One thing I like about Killswitch Engage is their lyrics are always really positive. And especially in rock and metal, there can be so many negative and hurtful, depressing lyrics. And they've always had hope in their lyrics. It's always been about determination and overcoming and, fighting, loving, whatever it might be. So that's kind of the cool thing about Killswitch. And I try to do the same thing with my songs, is just kind of positive lyrics. So that one sounds like it's one of their more kind of thrashy get in and get out songs. You know, not quite as much melody in that one, but still a pretty good tune. Yep, Stanley's commenting on the stops and starts and the breakdowns, and that's kind of what I like about metal is just that the playing is so tight, you know, and just like totally in sync. Like that's a good band when they can, again, when they can stop and start like collectively and just all be on time together. It's a really impressive musicianship. Yeah, amen, Moonlight. Yeah, Moonlight talking about Skillet. Yeah, they Comatose was kind of their last good album. A lot of great songs on that album, and honestly, what was the first album? Was it called Forsaken? The album with Forsaken on it, like that's my favorite. I love those songs, and I kind of agree. Ever since what was it? Yeah, Awake and Alive. They've kind of been recycling that sound a little. Now, to their credit, I did check out their most recent song. I did a reaction to that, and it wasn't, you know, it wasn't awful, but it definitely, you know, it's not bad. It's just it's not as good as what I know they're capable of. That's right. Metal vocals. Knox is commenting on, you know, they think screaming is easy, but it's very challenging, especially to do it without hurting yourself. And I could say that for myself as a vocalist, having to learn proper technique and how to do it without wearing my voice out. And it's kind of like working out. It's like it's not just a technique or a trick that allows you to do it. You've got to practice and sort of condition your voice for that. And so if you haven't practiced, it's not like you can just flip a switch and all of a sudden do it. You've got to work towards it and build up the conditioning so that your voice can actually perform that kind of vocal. Stan says, "Love this. Glad you're digging it." Skillet isn't anymore. Club. Yep. You know, no worries. There's always the older songs to appreciate, and you know, hopefully, I wouldn't say directly, but again, I quite like the old sound, so maybe I can scratch that itch a little bit. I'll try to write some songs that have a little bit of that old Skillet sound. Again, some of that I think is in the same ballpark as the kind of bands I like, Flyleaf, Chevelle, just that sort of ballpark there. I definitely draw a lot of inspiration from that in my own music. Cool. Yeah, you'll have to share Killswitch with your brother if he likes this kind of heavier music. You'll have to check him out. Moonlight, I know you like Skillet, and I know you like Flyleaf. And so I think you could like Killswitch too. These first two songs, again, if I were to introduce you to Killswitch, these would not actually be the first two songs I would pick. This is kind of some of their, I don't know. This is just it's kind of funny. It's sort of their new sound and their old sound. Now that their new and their old sound haven't drifted that far from each other. They're still in the same ballpark. But sort of my favorite Killswitch has a lot of really great, catchy songs, good melodies that I think you could appreciate if you're a fan of, you know, Flyleaf and Skillet. I think there would be a few Killswitch songs that you would enjoy. In fact, I'll make some recommendations at the end of the stream. But before we go any further, I'm going to go ahead and play a few songs for you, or well, just one song actually. Going to take a little break, play a little song, and then we'll dive back in and check out some more Killswitch Engage. Let's see here. And Knox asking, is he also a Top fan? I think he might be asking about your brother and asking about the clique that you guys are in. So he would call it kiddie music. His favorite band is Cannibal Corpse, and Cannibal Corpse has a few songs that are all right, but I'm not too uh, not too crazy about their lyrical content. But I can enjoy some of that heavier stuff too. But yeah, if he likes Cannibal Corpse. Now, actually, speaking of Cannibal Corpse, so Adam D, the guitarist in Killswitch Engage, he actually did a little side project with the vocalist from Cannibal Corpse. It was called Serpentine Dominion. So your brother might like that. He might like Killswitch and he might like Serpentine Dominion. So that's kind of a heavier, it's kind of like a merge between Killswitch and Cannibal Corpse. So it's heavy, but it still has some nice like melody and stuff into it. And there were a few songs from that. I think they only put out one album, but there were a few songs on there that I really liked. So that was called Serpentine Dominion. All right, guys. Gonna play another instrumental for you, and then we'll dive right back into it. But while I'm playing this, let me ask you guys, if you could travel, if you could visit somewhere, I just got back from New York, so if you could visit anywhere, I'm trying to say, if I could go anywhere in the world, I don't know if New York would be my pick. I'd probably go somewhere in Europe, but just share with me, if there's any place you'd like to visit, where would you like to visit? Where would you like to travel to? Let me know where you would like to go. All right, I'm going to play a song, and then we're going to check out some more Killswitch Engage. This is an instrumental. This one's called Ascension. Thank you. Again, that song was called Ascension, and I have actually released that song. So if you liked it, you can find that available on Spotify or Apple Music, Amazon, wherever you stream music. It's available there. All right. Stan says he'd like to visit Australia. Australia would be cool. That'd be quite the adventurous place to go, so that'd be a fun one to visit. Knox is saying a monastery in Eastern Asia. Love the philosophies, and it would be cool to experience to get to understand different cultures. Yeah, I agree. I would definitely love to visit Asia. I'd love to go to Japan sometime, Tokyo, and definitely some of those, you know, kind of more less city areas. You know, more of the like jungle areas or whatever they might be. Vienna, specifically by train. Yep. I'd also love to visit. Yep. Italy, Greece. I'd love to do that. I'd love to go to Europe sometime. Scotland. Yeah. Connect with. Oh, okay. So ancestors in Scotland. Yes. I'd love to go to Japan, and I'd like to go to Ireland sometime. That'd be like that might be at the top of my list. But pretty much Ireland, and then most places in Europe. So Italy, France, all that good stuff. Travel the whole world. Yep. No, that'd be cool. I think all I can suggest, I can't give any tips for it, but if you've got the financial means, I would just say maybe start to set aside some money for traveling. And once it reaches a certain point, it's like, hey, I've got enough to travel. Let's make it happen. And take some time off to go check out some places. So I'm sure there are techniques for traveling. Travel's an interesting thing because it definitely is, like, I know it's a little bit of a lifestyle for people who like to travel, like to visit a lot of places. For me, yes, I want to visit a lot of places, but I also, I'm trying to get a career as a musician right now, so pretty much all my focus and attention is on that. And so, once I have that more established, then maybe I'll look to treating myself to travel somewhere. But I do get the kind of the vibe I get is from people who do travel is they don't have too much else going on, if that makes sense, because that's what they devote their free time to. They devote their free time to traveling and exploring, Maybe they've got like a stable job that they do, and then they take up time off the job to go visit someplace. And so me, I'm still working on making my career stable enough so that I can go off and do something like that. But yeah, that would be awesome to visit those places. Be a good learning. Boom. Good learning experience, but also risky. Well, I sometimes I think a little bit of risk is okay. I think sometimes the things that are most worthwhile are probably going to have some risk to them. This might be kind of a small example, but it's sort of funny. My nephew, when we went to New York, he had a little bit of a problem with the subway. The first couple times, we were only on it for a short time. We got on the subway, and then like the next stop, we got off. But there were a few times where you've got to take the subway to you're going across New York, and so you're on it for quite some time. And the longer we were on it, I think he was just kind of psyching himself out, and he started getting kind of scared and just was wanting to get off and really was not digging it. And his dad had to talk with him a few times, but he was kind of struggling with it for a while. He just did not want to get on the subway. And every time we had to do it, he was kind of like resistant to it. But at some point, we kind of, he sort of overcame that fear, and we actually did something kind of funny to help him overcome it. At one point, my brother-in-law realized that he was receiving an airdrop from somebody on the train. And so once he realized that, we took a funny picture and we started airdropping it to whoever we could, connect with on the train. And so a few people got a laugh out of that. They checked it, and then they'd look over and they'd see us, and they kind of laughed at the funny picture we sent. But that ended up, my nephew enjoyed that. He was laughing. And then at the end of the trip, he ended up saying that one of his favorite things was the subway. That was his favorite thing. And it's just funny how we do that in life, where sometimes we're scared of something. We're so scared of something and we don't do it. But if we would overcome that fear, if we would allow ourselves to do it, what we might find is that it's actually what we appreciate most, what we cherish most. It's like, wow, that was, that was the most, that was worthwhile. That was something that had the most impact on me. And that's kind of what I've learned. I've actually got this little saying. I'm not necessarily saying this is true all the time, but if you're scared, you're probably going the right way. That's kind of a little saying I have when it comes to like making, choices for your life, especially for your career. If you're trying to do something, if you're scared, you're probably going the right way. Because a lot of times overcoming that fear is what becomes worthwhile and victorious. And if you never take that risk, if you never face something that's kind of scary, you just kind of stay in the comfort of your home or your room or your your ordinary life, then that's what happens is you just you never experience anything, you never live life to the fullest, and you never realize what you're capable of. And in some cases, I don't even think you're really truly happy. You might be safe, but what is actually going to bring you fulfillment and happiness is a lot of times stepping out and being more of what you're meant to be, overcoming that fear and really experiencing life. And that's kind of how I see it. Again, I believe in being healthy, taking care of yourself, being positive and loving to other people. So I believe that. But at the same time, along with those moralities, you've only got one life. And so that's part of the reason why I'm pursuing a career in music, is because I could easily get a job just teaching music. In fact, that's what I do part-time. But if I were to do that full-time, that would totally be a good gig for me, just to teach music. A lot of the skills I have, I could produce videos for people, whatever it might be. Like, I can have a stable job doing that. But, if you've only got one shot at life on this earth, in my opinion, you might as well go for it. You might as well try something, kind of risky. You might as well go after that thing that you dream about. And so, yeah, so sorry to go on a tangent there. I appreciate the feedback. Some people saying, well said, amen, Great things never come from comfort zones. Yeah, I think a lot of times just the most valuable things are the things that you have to work for, or you have to step out and go after. And sorry, I kind of missed that, but yeah, Stan was commenting. Yeah, Knox, if you go to one of those Asian monasteries and find like those huge stair sets, make sure you bring a slinky with you so you can do the slinky thing from Ace Ventura. So. But yeah, so there's my tangent. There's my 2 cents on that, just, don't let fear hold you back from doing something that might actually be something that you love, that might be, incredibly valuable and impactful in your life. All right, we're going to get back to checking out some Killswitch Engage. Got a couple more songs here. And then I'm going to recommend some things to check out if you are enjoying this a little bit here. So this next song, I think this is from their new album as well. This is a song called Know Your Enemy. Now again, their new album, I've only heard a few songs. I don't have the album, so I can't remember all of them. So, but yeah, let's have a listen to this. Oh, whoops. Let me, gotta tweak the sound real quick. All right, now we should be able to hear it. It's a cool riff. little bit of a bluesy riff, kind of. Knox, thanks for joining the stream. Appreciate you stopping by. Be sure to come back again, and yeah, check out As Daylight Dies by Killswitch Engage. It's the 2007 album. But thanks for stopping by. Take care, man. Moonlight's digging it. Yep, Stan says you can't win if you don't play the game. Yep. So these past couple songs have actually been sort of the heavier side of Killswitch Engage, which I'm digging. And I'm glad you like this one, Moonlight. But I know. Again, I want to showcase some of their melody. So I think I know which song we're gonna look up next. Some cool guitar harmonies. Cool. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good song right there. So I definitely need to revisit their new album. I think I'd only heard it maybe a couple times or something. I know I purchased a few songs from the new album, but yeah, I'll need to check it out again for sure. All right. So I think we're going to look at, there was one other song I had planned here, but again, I wasn't sure who was going to show up to the stream. I wasn't sure if maybe some Killswitch fans would show up. So that was kind of my plan, was to just focus on the songs from this performance here. Let's see. Proverbs. Not sure what you're referring to there, but definitely a good place for good advice. Yeah. So since Stan and Moonlight, since y'all are kind of new to Killswitch Engage, I'm going to share two more songs with you. Because like I said, if I was trying to get someone into Killswitch Engage, I would these probably wouldn't be the songs I would show. I would share a few other songs. So let me search real quick. I'm going to share two songs with you. Let's start with kind of the classic Killswitch Engage sound, and then I'm going to show you one more song that's sort of a slightly softer sound from Killswitch. So this was the song I demonstrated earlier. This is kind of the go-to like Killswitch Engage song, go-to Killswitch Engage sound. Now this is with their other vocalist, Howard, which I quite like Howard also. Again, I like both of them. If I had to pick, I think I'd have to go Howard because that was my introduction to Killswitch Engage. But Jesse's great too. And actually on the new album, they did a song together. Because you know how fans are. You know how fans, like when there's a new vocalist, they kind of pit them against each other. And it's like, oh, Team Jesse, Team Howard. But, you know, they're cool with each other. It's not like there's anything, you know, they don't have any opposition with each other. So they kind of settled all that by just doing a song together. So they did a collaboration. and yeah, performed a song together. So that kind of settled all that dispute. All right, so this is My Curse. And yeah, this is kind of a good example of sort of the classic Killswitch Engage sound. Again, the heavy verses and, again, just really pretty melodies. Got this beautiful intro. It kicks in. And then here comes kind of the heavier riff. Have you heard this song before, Moonlight? Oh, the lyrics. Yep. Yeah, I think Stan was commenting on the lyrics of the other song. Yeah, if you're hearing influences, that probably is the case. Cool. Moonlight hasn't heard it, but likes it. Yeah. Killswitch was a really big influence in my songwriting. Now, I think like any artist, as I've written more songs, I've sort of found my own sound a little bit. So a lot of my newer stuff isn't quite as similar as Killswitch Engage. But a lot of my old songs, I mean, to be honest, they sound like straight-up Killswitch Engage songs. So Ascension, the instrumental I played, was definitely around the time that I was, you know, being influenced by this. So if you hear some similarities, yeah. The flip book, I think you mean. Not really a cartoon book, but just a... Yeah, you're flipping it and seeing the pages. So when I learned, I've actually got a funny story about this song on guitar. I'll tell it in a moment. There's Adam singing. So again, it's like, I mean, it's just got everything I want, you know. It's heavy, but it's got like beautiful melodies, you know. Like I love that vocal melody and the guitar. Yep, I remember doing that too with stick figures. You kind of draw each picture on the page and then you flip it. That's pretty much how movies work. It's just a bunch of pictures, frame by frame, playing back to back. Oh, nice. Solid 8 out of 10. Yeah. If you like that, you really should check out the rest of the album. I'm going to show you one more song from that album, and we'll see what you think. But quick funny story. So the way I learned how to play that song, it was on Guitar Hero 3. So if you've ever played the Guitar Hero games, you've got the toy guitar, and you've got to hit the notes as they come down on the screen. And what I realized was you could go to the practice mode and put it on expert, so you have to hit all the notes. but then slow it down. And so what I would do is I would hit the first few notes on the guitar controller, pause the game, and then pick up my real guitar and try to figure out like how to play it, like find the notes on the real guitar. So I learned how to play that song. I learned how to play. Got the chords and the all the melodies. And I worked really hard to figure out how to play it. And then I found out on YouTube there was a video of Adam and I think it's Mike. I'm trying to remember the other guitarist's name, but the two guitarists from Killswitch Engage. There's a video on YouTube of them teaching how to play that song. So I worked really hard figuring out how to play it myself, and then there's a tutorial on YouTube. So that was a lesson learned. Always check to see if there's a tutorial from the artist first before trying to figure it out yourself. But what was nice is that what I had figured out on my own was very close to what they were doing. Like, it was just a few details that I didn't quite pick up on. So so that was kind of reassuring, like, oh, okay, I've got a pretty good ear then, that I had most of it right. So all right, so I would say that's kind of the standard Killswitch Engage sound, but they're actually a very dynamic band. Like, it's not all just heavy songs like that. So here's kind of a softer song of theirs that I'm going to share with you. This one's called The Arms of Sorrow. So this is from the same album. So you want to become a video this is a really pretty song. It's a sad song, but it's a pretty song. Yep, Moonlight Loves the title. And that's right, Stan. It did make me a better musician having to exercise my ear. They're hitting some really cool chords on those guitars. Rocking out too hard. Yep, so that's The Arms of Sorrow. Yep, so, where they're singing, deeper, I'm falling into the arms of sorrow. That would be the chorus right there. And yeah, that last scream. Kind of an interesting story about that scream, actually. Because that's the thing about harsh vocals, is it is, in effect... Oh, the bridge was the that little part, the where they're singing the demons of my own design. This horror must. So that last little kind of breakdown bit. But so that scream. The interesting thing about harsh vocals, because Moonlight, I don't know if you experienced this, but when I first got into screamo music, my parents weren't really sure what to think of it, and it is kind of hard to explain. Like, and I don't know if I don't know if anyone like just gets into the music off the bat. Like, I don't know if you hear it and you're just like, oh, hey, I like that. You do kind of have to ease into it a little bit. So it started with just punk rock, and then kind of got to harder rock, and the vocals were more aggressive, but they weren't quite screaming. Maybe they had like a little bit of screaming here and there, and then you get to hard rock, and that does have those screaming bits, and then you get to like actual screamo, and then eventually I got to metal, which is mostly screaming a lot of times, and so let's see here. So I was really digging the music, but again, when my parents were kind of figuring out I was listening to it, they weren't really sure what to make of it. And for a long time, I kind of just hid that from them, more so out of respect. Like, I knew my parents didn't really like screamo music, so I just tried to be considerate and making sure that I wasn't blasting it so that they had to hear it or anything like that. But because of that, they weren't really, they weren't really educated. They didn't really understand it or know it, Yeah. So that's kind of what happens. Yeah, sometimes your parents, they're not really sure. They don't see how screaming can be, kind of Christian music or anything like that. Yep. So what I ended up doing, uh, it was actually kind of a health thing. Trying to think how detailed I want to go with this story. Um, I guess I can share with you guys, but uh, I actually have this kind of nocturnal epilepsy, which means sometimes I have seizures in my sleep. I've never had a seizure while I'm awake, but sometimes when I'm asleep, I'll have an episode. I've had it for about maybe over 10 years now. And, some of the health concerns, my dad was even wondering if something in my life was affecting it. And he wasn't sure about the music. And so he wanted me to look into it a little bit. And I did. I decided, all right, maybe I better take this seriously. Let me kind of look into the music and see, is there anything, wrong with this kind of music? And so I kind of researched some things, and what I discovered, I ended up sharing with my dad. So at one point, I decided, you know what, I think it's time. And this was kind of a key moment for me. This probably happened like a few years ago, but this was sort of a moment. You know how sometimes you have those moments where you just feel like, wow, I'm growing up. This was one of those moments. This was one of those moments where I wasn't really a kid anymore. This was me like actually kind of standing up. I don't know if standing up's the right word, but like sharing my opinion, voicing my opinion, and expressing it to my dad in a respectful way, rather than just sort of rather than rebelling, or rather than kind of cowering and being a child. This was me, being an adult and just kind of saying, hey, Dad, let me share this with you. So I got him one day. I actually made like a little playlist on YouTube, and I brought Dad into my room, and I said, I've realized I haven't really shared this music with you out of respect, but let me go ahead and just try to show you what it is that I like about it, and what I've learned about it. So the first thing I talked about was just the music itself. Music can't be Christian or non-Christian because it's just a sound. Like if I play a chord on guitar and then I add distortion, that's not. There's no morality or righteousness or anything. It's just a sound. It's just an effect. So the music itself, there's nothing wrong with that. It was, and really, he didn't have a problem with the music. It was mainly the vocals. So that's kind of what I was getting to. But I was explaining, my parents. A lot of people kind of admired my ability as a musician, and I was sort of sharing that what I learned is from this genre of music. The reason I can drum the way I drum is because of the influence that I got from metal drummers, and everything I've learned about guitar, a lot of it is from these metal bands. That's why I've gotten as good as music, because of this kind of music. These kind of bands. And so when it came to vocals, the first thing I expressed to him was that screaming can sort of be used as an emotional effect. That was the first thing I explained, and that was the song I used as an example. You could hear it was heavy metal music, but he's singing through most of the song, and he's got a great voice. It's a beautiful singing voice. But that last line, he says, there must be serenity, there must be deliverance, and he screams the word deliverance. And it just has such a powerful impact. There must be deliverance. And it's like, there's an emotional context to it. It's not that he's just saying it. He's expressing himself emotionally with that scream. And so there's nothing wrong with that. That's it's just human emotion. It's expressing it in an emotional way. But screaming, the reality is screaming is not always used like that. The harsh vocals in music is sometimes just an effect. It's just a sound effect. And so how do you explain that? And so I showed him one of my favorite metal bands. There's a band called NYXL, which is a Christian metal band. And there's a song that they sing, and the song is actually called NYXL, same as the band name, NYXL. And the lyrics are beautiful, and they are just such worshipful lyrics. The lyrics say, let me see if I can remember them. So in the chorus, now they do sing the chorus. The chorus says, your breath of life strengthens my bones. In my deepest desperation and fear, your presence within my heart. And then he starts screaming, above all else, you stand mighty and terrible, yet gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and of great mercy. Until the day I take my last breath, my soul will praise the Lord, and everything within me extol his holy name. So those are the lyrics, and he's screaming them. And the reason screaming works in metal is because it matches the tone of the music. The guitars are aggressive. Oh, that wasn't aggressive. That distortion, is aggressive. The drums are aggressive. You're hitting them so hard. You're playing fast. And so in order for the vocals to kind of match that intensity, what can we do with our voice? Well, we can scream. We can add grit to our voice to match the same vibe and intensity of the music. Is there anything wrong with that? There's not really a moral reason why there should be anything wrong with adding grit to your voice or screaming. And what really matters is what's being said with the music, There are some bands that do, they're heavy. You do have to be careful what you listen to. Yes, I like metal, but I've got to be careful. I don't just listen to anything. Some metal bands, they sing very, very dark, very vulgar lyrics, just very negative stuff. And I don't listen to that. But the stuff I do listen to, and again, Killswitch Engage is an example. Yes, they sing aggressively, but they have very positive, very powerful lyrics. And sometimes the screaming helps, I wrote a song called Get Up Again, and I scream the words, don't back down, stand your ground, get up again and again. And there's something motivating about that, to scream those kind of words. So that's kind of a story behind that. And ever since then, my parents, they've respected the music. They've never questioned it. I think that helped him understand what I like about it, and they understand that that I am careful with what I'm listening to. And so that's my little story on that. But anyway, I'm gonna play one more song for you guys. But I do hope you have enjoyed checking out Killswitch Engage with me. Glad you can relate to that, and hopefully those are some points. If you've ever had to kind of figure out, like, man, how do I explain why do I like this music? Hopefully those are kind of some points as to how the music is impactful. But yeah, definitely. I'm sure Lacey Sturm has I'm pretty sure she's addressed the topic too, and so she'd be a good one to turn to and look at. And definitely, the lyrics that Lacey Sturm sings. I mean, it's just it's powerful music, and and I think I think parents aren't wrong in being a little concerned. Like, man, this is such a odd style of music. Is this okay for my child to be listening to? And in some sense, they're not wrong, but just reassuring them that, hey, this same style of music, in life, kind of what I've learned and what I've realized is there are a lot of things in life, and it really just depends how you use it. It can be used to to glorify God or to glorify yourself. It can be used for good or for evil. And music is definitely one of those things. And so it might be kind of a strange style of music to anyone who isn't used to hearing it, but there's a reason it's impactful. It is a powerful style of music, and it just means you have to be careful how you use it. Are you going to use it for something positive and good, or are you going to use it for negativity and wickedness? But I'm going to play one more song for you guys. And then I'm actually going to share, again, I know I've mentioned that album that y'all should check out, but I'm going to name a few songs that I think you might like, Moonlight, just a few songs. Like, I could spend forever just like, oh, check out this song, But I think it'd be easier. I'm just going to give you a list of songs to check out, and you'll have to listen to them and see if you like them. But I've got one more song, again, an instrumental. And it's always hard to have to wrap up these streams. It's always hard to bring it to an end. I enjoy chatting with you, Moonlight, and Stan, and anyone else who stops by. Daniel and Pablo and all of them. I appreciate you guys so much. So it's always hard to wrap it up. So this song goes out to all of you guys. This one's called "Hard Goodbyes." I'm gonna play it in just a moment here. Yes, I would agree with that, and it's kind of funny. Again, music is just a sound, and music is ultimately how we express ourselves emotionally. And emotions in them of themselves aren't a bad thing. Even anger isn't bad. Um, Scripture actually talks about, not sinning in your anger, and and even Christ has been angry. Emotions are just how we respond to things. It's just how we feel, but it's what we do with those emotions that is either sin or not. And there is such thing as a righteous anger. You can be angry that, hey, that is wrong. That's wicked. You can be angry about that, but then don't sin in your anger. Use that anger as a motivator to do right. That's the important thing. And again, the example of Jesus. I shared a. So in our we had Sunday school classes, and I've taught a few Sunday school classes before, and I did a message once about emotions. I talked about happiness, sadness, anger, and fear. And I shared Bible verses where Jesus experienced all of these. A time when Jesus was happy, a time when he was sad. Jesus wept, of course, that verse. A time when he was angry, when he went in the temple and he turned the tables over. And a time when he was scared, when he was praying in the garden and sweating and pleading, if there was another way, before his crucifixion. And so Jesus has experienced these emotions as well. But he didn't sin while he was in those things. So even the, when he was angry, the reason he was flipping tables and stuff is because people were disrespecting the temple. They were selling and trading in the temple, and it was a place of worship. And so the only thing he was destroying was stuff that did not belong in the temple. He was just, shooing out all the livestock and the things that did not belong in the temple. That's the only thing he did. He didn't hurt anyone. He didn't sin in his anger. And so, so that's a good point to bring up. And music enables us to explore that. And I think it's so important to explore all of that. Yes, it's good to be happy. We need to be joyful. But I think music helps us overcome these other emotions too, to express anger and sadness and fear. And not to acknowledge them in a way to say that I'm going to subject to them, but to acknowledge them and to overcome them, or to acknowledge them to sort of help deal with them. That's how music can be important. So, all right, I got one more song for you. It's always hard to say goodbye, so this one goes out to you. This one's called Hard Goodbyes. Thank you. Again, that song's called Hard Goodbyes, and that one is, I have released that song. That one's available, so you can find that on Spotify and streaming and all that good stuff. All right, well, Stan, Moonlight, oh, thank you, appreciate that. This is going to be a wrap for this stream. Oh, Stan's back. Yep. Hopefully you weren't gone too much. I just played Hard Goodbyes. I don't know if you got to hear that or not, but cool. But this is going to be a wrap on this stream. Let me just say, I really do appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. I always enjoy chatting with you and learning more about you and sharing music with each other. And yeah, I just want to say thanks. Thank you so much. It means a lot. And yeah, glad to always glad to do these streams with you guys, and looking forward to kind of seeing what's to come in the future and stuff. But thank you so much for tuning in. For anyone watching now or on the replay, I appreciate you watching. If you'd like to support me, there is a link in the description to a virtual tip jar, and I certainly appreciate that. If you don't have the financial means to support me, my biggest goal right now is building an audience. So sharing my songs. Again, my music is available on Spotify or AppleMusic or wherever. Sharing my music with other people, inviting them to come to the streams, and sharing my videos, subscribing to the YouTube channel, liking, all that stuff. Just anything to kind of share my music and help me build an audience. That's my biggest goal right now, and I certainly appreciate all of that. And again, those of you who tune in, again, I can't say it enough. I appreciate you so much. Great stream. Thanks for the follow on Instagram, by the way. Maybe I'll send you a message about those songs. Cool. Yeah, my pleasure, Moonlight, and for sure. And yeah, actually, if we are following on Moonlight, then sorry, on Moonlight on Instagram, then well, I'm gonna type him in the chat here, but yeah, this is gonna be a wrap on this stream. But like I said, I'm gonna type a few songs to check out. The main one to check out, again, if you even slightly enjoyed Killswitch Engage, what we checked out this evening, like I said, I wouldn't even call these were good songs. These are not even their best songs. These are good songs, but not even their best. Now the last two I showed, I might say those are some of their better ones. But As Daylight Dies is a fantastic album, but they've just, I don't know, they've got so much dynamic with their music too. They've got some soft, pretty songs that you might like. Like they've even got some acoustic songs. So that's worth checking out. So I'm going to type in a few favorites of mine, but yeah, give them a listen. Check out Killswitch Engage. And like I said, we're probably going to revisit them in the future because they're a favorite of mine. So I'm going to, and they've been so influential to me in my music. So I'm definitely trying to connect with anyone who is familiar with Killswitch Engage because they're probably going to like my music a little bit too. So anyway, I'm going to type that stuff in the chat, but thank you so much for tuning in, guys. That is going to be a wrap for this evening's stream. But I hope you all have a wonderful evening or morning, afternoon, night, whatever time it is, wherever you're in the world. Until next time. You have to what? Finish typing that, Stan.